الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال الملك إني أرى سبع بقرات سمان يأكلهن سبع عجاف وسبع سنبلات خضر وأخر يابسات يا أيها الملأ أفتوني في رؤياي إن كنتم للرؤيا تعبرون. Alhamdulillah, all praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The peace, blessing and salutation upon the last and final messenger of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From Surah Yusuf, verse number 41, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in this verse, in brief, the story of Musa and two men who have been joined with him, and they have seen the dream, and they asked its interpretation to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Yusuf alayhi salam, he was the prophet and messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has been chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to propagate and to invite the people to the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whenever he got chance to carve away to for the propagation of the message, he could have delivered the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the people. These two men came to Yusuf and showed their homage and respect and honor to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and they know he is truthful and sincere in talking, and he is sincere in deeds. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam said to them that I will tell you the interpretation, but I would like to tell you something, that the source of my knowledge that I got, and through that knowledge I give interpretation of dreams. So I would like to tell you the source of my knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me wisdom, and through it I give interpretation of the dream. Now he said, Ya sahibai sijin. Now he started to interpret their dream and said, one of you saw that he himself praising wine for the man, and Yusuf alayhi salam, he interpreted for it that he would serve wine for the king later. And another one, he saw in his dream that the birds are eating from his head, and he's carrying some breads. So Yusuf gave interpretation for that dream, that this person will be crucified, will be killed and crucified, and the birds will be eating from his head. And Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam said someone who would be set free from one of them, and he said to him that when you will be appointed to serve for the king of Egypt, you remind him, mention my name to him, and tell him my story. For what purpose I have been imprisoned, and what is the real story of me, tell your king. Few days later, these two persons, one of them has been crucified, and another one, he had been appointed to serve for the king. But what Yusuf asked, the shaitan caused him to forget the mentioning the name of Yusuf. And Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ, he stayed several years inside the jail, because no one knows the real story of Yusuf. In fact, the king of Egypt, he doesn't know about it. Few years later, the king of Egypt, he saw another dream. He saw in his dream that he said, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكُ, the king said, إِنِّي أَرَى سَبَعَ بَقَرَاتٍ. He said in his dream, 7 lean cows, they are eating 7 fat cows. And he saw in his dream 7 fresh green ears of corn, and another 7 are dry and withered. So he let the people, especially those who are well uh, concerned, those who are well experienced in different fields, he gathered them around him and asked them the interpretation of his dream. He said, Aftuni fi ru'yaya. In kuntum li ru'ya ta'burun. If you have any knowledge, if you have any pre knowledge, or if you have any experience in this field to interpret the dream, then tell me the true meaning of my dream. قالوا أضغاث أحلام. They said, وما نحن بتأويل الأحلام بعلم. We have no actual experience to interpret for the true dream, and the dream you saw just confused dream. And they said your dream has no meaning. But the man who was serving for the king, he immediately could have remembered the name of Yusuf, the history of Yusuf, that Yusuf used to interpret them, or interpret for the dreams. He could have remembered that story, and he said and asked the king, send me to Yusuf, send me to Yusuf, and I will tell you the interpretation of dream. And أنبئكم بتأويله فأرسل means send me to the jail, that I will ask the Yusuf this interpretation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in brief the dream of the king here. And that man who was serving for the king, he came to Yusuf to the jail and asked Yusuf, Yusuf, ayyuha Siddiq, O Yusuf, O truthful person, O trustworthy person, أفتنا في سبع بقرات سمان يأكلهن سبع عجاف وسبع سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات. Inform us the interpretation of the dream of the king. The king saw in his dream 7 fat cows are devoured and eaten by 7 lean cows. What does it mean? And the king saw in his dream 7 fresh corn, and others they are dried and withered. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam said, قَالَ تَزْرَعُونَ سَبَعَ سِنِينَ دَأَبًا. The interpretation, true meaning of the dream, that you will be cultivating for 7 years. In the 7 years, what will you have in your cultivation, in your farming? Don't eat them. Store them. Preserve them. فَمَا حَصَدْتُمْ فَذَرُوا فِي صُنْبُلِهِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ. You just eat little. Others, they are being left in the year. Don't eat them, because the following 7 consecutive years will be great hard for you. There will be hardship. There will be drought in the field. So you will be disabled to cultivate in the following 7 consecutive years. In these years, what you have stored, you eat them and leave a little for next year. And he said that ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام في يغاث الناس وفي يعصرون. And 7 years are for cultivation, and 7 years are for eating from the deserved, or from they have preserved. But next year, the year of prosperity, the year of cultivation, the year of the rain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you prosperity, and people will be helped and assisted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when king got this phenomena and this very complicated true meaning of the dream, that he could have realized the position and the honor, the homage of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and the king asked that bring Yusuf to me. I will see his condition and I will observe his situation and I will reinvestigate why he had been cast inside the jail.